Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this edition of the Solution for Success webinar series. I apologize, we had a slight audio issue, but here it is, my colleague Kevin Doig giving a presentation and a live demo of the Agility CMS, a cloud-based solution. Thank you.
Thanks, John. So I'm Kevin Doig. I'm a solution architect here at Point Alliance, and I want to talk about the Agility CMS platform this morning. The Agility CMS is a content management system hosted entirely in the cloud. It's unique in that way, so I wanted to kind of go over that. So first off, a quick overview of Point Alliance. We're based in Toronto, founded in 2002. We're specialized in innovative web, collaborative, and mobile solutions. We're partnered with industry leaders such as Microsoft and IBM. We are a Microsoft Gold Certified partner. And Point Alliance also has an extensive in-depth industry knowledge with various organizations, including not-for-profit, media, healthcare, educational, financial services, and property management, just to name a few. So a quick overview of Agility. I mentioned it is a cloud-based CMS platform. It's very agile and powerful. Agility CMS users build websites for web and mobile that develop compelling content over 5 million people every day. The platform is very developer friendly. You can build in web forms or pure MVC, and there's no hardware to install. A client could start using your CMS right away. Some of the features of Agility, again, is it's 100% cloud-based, so it's hosted entirely in the cloud. No hardware to install. All you need to use Agility is a web browser. Agility CMS also integrates very well with video management, e-commerce, and ad serving. There's Brightcove integration in here, YouTube integration, as well as Google DSP. The CMS doesn't restrict you in any way when it comes to how you want to present and merchandise your content. So that includes custom content structures, which can be set up by a developer and then strongly typed within your Visual Studio.net solution. Agility also offers training and architecture development. The Agility team they can come on site. They are available 24/7 for any questions for both the client and a developer as well. With Agility being hosted in the cloud, so the CMS is actually hosted in the cloud as well as your website, you have worry-free security. They take it very seriously, and it's backed by the cloud-based architecture and infrastructure, and they regularly undertake independent audits on every site that they host. And again, from a developer standpoint and a designer standpoint, the CMS doesn't impose any design constraints. Creativity is never compromised to allow for functionality. So Agility and MVC. So unlike other .NET CMSs that may simulate an MVC model of development within a web forms project, Sitefinity and Kentago are two examples of that. Agility actually does provide a pure 100% MVC option. So with that being said, you can also do a web forms project, but the trend moving forward in .NET is to actually be doing this in MVC. So to start, a developer would actually create a blank MVC project in Visual Studio and simply add a reference to an Agility web.dll and a configuration block in your web config. That configuration block will tell you what instance you're going to connect to in the Agility cloud, and the Agility web DLL gives you your library of functions to extract content or to put content into that instance. Also, as you create content models within the Agility UI, these will become strongly typed objects within your web project. So I just have some screenshots I'll go over before I actually do a demo of the Agility CMS platform. So you can see here when you come in, this is the dashboard. You have your page structure, tree structure navigation on the left, as well as you can see here, you can see your top page views, top entry pages, pages that are published versus pages that are staged. In this case, this is a beta test of Agility, so it's not tied into a Google Analytics account. But it's actually very good because you can pull in all of your Google Analytics into this dashboard as well, therefore allowing like certain users to view the analytics that you want them to see without giving them access to your Google Analytics account. This is an example of a content listing. So in here you can see we're under shared content and we're looking at a products list. So this beta store here is actually just a kind of simulation of a computer store that just sells parts and things like that. So the product object is actually defined in the settings under content definitions. And from there you can add specific attributes and properties to the object, such as a title, product category title, images, and things like that. Agility also features a pretty extensive media library built in. As you upload images and content, if you wanted to come into an image and play with the color or lighting or resize, cropping, all of those little fun things you can actually do right within the web browser, so you're giving your users some flexibility in that aspect. Agility also features an auto cropping tool as well, where you can pass in the dimensions of the image that you want as a parameter after the image. So if you have image.ping, you could do a question mark and width equals 300, height equals 200, and it's actually going to bring that image in automatically. There's also user-generated content within Agility. So you can see here we're just looking at a list of newsletter submissions. There's also in this one contact us submissions. Comments would live in here as well. All the UGC definitions are customizable by a developer too. And now I'm going to jump into a demo. So what I want to show you guys is actually updating a current homepage and how easy that is. Adding a product to a store, and then I'll create a new content item and create a new module, and then quickly show you how the integration happens into Visual Studio. You can see here I'm actually logged into the same Agility beta test that we had. So if I go to Pages, now I'll click on Home, and let's first preview this so we can get a feel of what these main content modules are doing here. And while that loads, I'll just flip back here. So you can see on this one we have a template defined, and we have a zone in here called our main content zone. Within there we have a Jumbotron module, featured content, a newsletter sign up, and a rich text area. You can see our rich text area is not published, indicated by that icon, and these three are. As I would go and change content in here, it goes into a staging, which then I can either publish right away, or I can publish later under a schedule. So looking at the home page, you can see we have a menu up here. This is our Jumbotron. These are our featured products. And then we have a large image on here. So if I wanted to change the text on this products widget here, you go back into Agility, go into the featured content. You can see here's the list: products, customer gallery, contact us, and oh hi guys. So clicking on the products module, you can see we have products and a summary, as well as a link to our products page. And again, this is all defined in a content definition by a developer, and I'll show you guys that in a minute. So if I wanted to change this to products to new products, go ahead and save that. If I come back and refresh this, you can see just like that, it's changed to new products. Again, this is in a staging version, so the live site wouldn't have this affected until I actually came in here and said, okay, go ahead and publish this item. Publish is triggered. I can leave the page. It gets thrown into a queue, and then that'll be available on the live site. So if I go into settings, we can take a look at the definition for this module of featured content. So under settings, we have lots of different settings. You have the option to add some global scripts to your page, which might be your Google Analytics code. You customize the content editor by adding in specific CSS and a whole slew of options. Under module definitions, you can see here's our featured content module. We have our title and description, and then under form builder, we have linked content here. So this is featured content, and you can see basically this is going to a content definition, which is a featured content item. So what that allows us to do is allow us to add multiple featured content items into this module, which you see with these 4 items. If I go back and look at the content definition for a featured content, here's our featured content item. If I go to the form builder, here's all of our fields and properties. So there's our title, summary, view details label, and view details URL. Say I wanted to add a subtitle property to this. I can simply come here, add subtitle, choose a field type. So we have lots of different options in here. It's going to leave it as text. Save and close. Move that up underneath title. Save that. Now, if I went back to my home page, I could go to featured content, click on new products, and you can see there's our subtitle field. We can close that. Now, obviously, the view for this isn't going to know where to put a subtitle. So in that case, what you would do is actually come back to Visual Studio, modify your view. You have that property on the module definition now, and you can place your subtitle wherever you want in your CSHTML. Now, under the products page, we'll view our products here. So this is a dynamic page, basically pulling in all of our product information from shared content. So if we wanted to add a new product in here, we could go back to our shared content. You can see here's our products listing. Let's create a new product. We'll just call this product beta. Here we can pick a category. Put this under memory. Give it a price. Write a summary. Give it some details. I'm not going to add an image in this case, but I can go ahead and save and close this. It should be a number. And our new product's now there. If I come back to the products page and refresh, our new product will be available on this page. Right there, product beta, our summary, and then it goes to a details page automatically. You can see here, this will be our details page. So the structure of this, you can see that we're looking under products and products beta. So we keep the SEO type URL. So under our page here, you can see this is the products listing page, and we have a product listing module. So this module actually has some labels on it, how many to display per page, things like that. And it automatically is going to pull in from shared content and list all the products within here. And then underneath it, we have a product details page. So there's 2 types of pages within Agility. We have your regular page, which is defined as a static type, and we also have dynamic pages. So rather than having to create a details page for each product, we simply lay out what we want the details page to show, and it's going to import the specific product details based on what product you're viewing. So again, if I went and looked at a different product, it's going to the same dynamic page, and then based on this title, it's going to look for the correct product to display. Just kind of jumping through here again, where I mentioned the media and documents. So you can upload a zip file, it'll get unzipped in here automatically. You can upload images to be used throughout the site. Again, if I wanted to edit an image, we have a built-in sort of photo editor with lots of cool options. Apply that and save it. I'm just going to close that while it saves. Again, under user content, we have our newsletter submissions in this case. You also have the ability to import or export. You could export all this into a CSV file. If you have any authentication on the site, we'd have a list of website users. You're able to create different groups of users for different roles. Under reports, we have some built-in reports in here. Basically, synchronization statuses, you can check the status of every server that's on your site. In this case, on this beta test environment, we have 2 web servers working in conjunction behind a load balancer. You could take one of these offline, you could add new ones. We have our domain status here. Everything's looking okay. Any items that are ready to publish, so you can see we've made some changes to the featured content on the home page, as well as the products page as well. We can filter this by user. We filter it by date. You see your last user activity is here, and any recent changes that have happened as well. We can also get a detailed sync status. So you can see if there's any items pending, any items in progress, anything that's failed, and then what's been published to the cloud. Now, what I'll do here is I'm going to create a new module. And we'll just call this a badge module. So under the form builder, we're going to give this a title as text. We'll give it some HTML, or we'll call this a summary. And this one we'll put as an HTML field, which gives the end user a rich text editor so that they can actually play with the styles. They could add images in line or anything like that. And then we'll give it a thumbnail image. Save that. And then the next thing that you would want to do is actually under output template. So you can output this as a partial view on a website. So you could actually just have this going to your web solution, something like this. And this module will get passed in as the model into that view. The other option is to use an MVC controller action. So we can actually specify a controller. So we'll say we're going to use the badge controller, and the action we want to pass the model into is index. At that point, you could then go and take the properties from the module that's passed in, create a view model, format your view model how you want, and pass the view model into a specific view at that point. So we'll save this. And then when I make these changes here, you can see we have this download API. So I mentioned that Agility gives you the option to have all of these content types and module definitions as strongly typed objects within your web solution. So clicking here actually gives us an Agility Beta Test API C# class. So if we pull that up, it basically gives us a models class. So you can see here, we can search in here for the badge module that we created, which is right here. It all inherits from an Agility content item. And you can see we have the properties. We have our title, we have our summary, and we have our thumbnail image. So if I wanted to, I could go and then actually create a new web solution here. And I have a beta solution already set up. So what I would want to do is take this file and we're going to add a model class in here. And then paste this in. We'll add a reference to our Agility Web DLL. Pulling it from another project. There we go. So for the case of our, I'm just going to data.model. So for our badge module, we're going to add a new controller. This will be badge controller. So we said we wanted to go to the badge controller and index was our action. So here, we're actually going to, what Agility will do is pass this in automatically. And then from there, we have all our properties. We can actually get our module title that the user fills in. We can get our module summary, as well as we can get our thumbnail image. And from here, in the thumbnail image, you can get your name, size, label, URL. So at that point, we would actually create a new view model, do all our formatting on that, and then pass the model in. What we can do here is then partial view. We can create any view that we want. And here we would just pass in the module. Under views, we'll create a new view. Define our model. And then just like that, we're able to output, say this is our title. We have all of our stuff right there. Our summary comes back as HTML, so we'll actually output that as raw HTML. And that's it. That's actually all you need to really do to make a new module within Agility. At that point, the user could then come back into their pages, go to whatever page they want, say we're going to add that module. Here it is. We'll give it a title, test badge, test summary, select an image from our media gallery. And save and close. Now at this point, since we've just made changes within here and we haven't actually uploaded those to the web server is not going to have this controller in this badge, so that won't get output. So that's where the developer comes in, is actually as you create these modules and content definitions, is you'll want to have a staging environment where the client can then review these changes. At that point, you would then push all your code changes up to the live site. But again, this is very developer friendly. You just saw how quickly I was able to go in and create a module, pull it into our Visual Studio solution, and have it available for the end user to actually place on pages at that point. The other thing I'll just note here is we have scheduling built into Agility as well, so we can enable our scheduling. We can pull, say we wanted to pull our home page off at some point. I don't know why you would do that, but we could. Say we wanted to come off at next week at 3 a.m. So all of a sudden that page is just not going to be available at 3 a.m. after March 23rd. The cool thing is that you can actually, I'm going to take this off here, you can do this on any content item. So if I go back to our content on the home page and see our featured content again, I could schedule one of these items to come down. I could have new items scheduled to go up. The other thing is you could actually put all these into a batch as well. So if I wanted to create a bunch of items and say I'm putting a campaign out first thing Monday morning, I can save these items to a batch. This will be campaign 1. Now that's added to a batch. I could come into our products, pick an item that I want to be able, like, so I'll make some changes to this one, save this to the batch as well. And then I can do a batch publish. I can also do a batch schedule publish. So you don't need to be available to make these items available on the web when you want to. So that's about it. So again, just to kind of do a quick overview, Agility, cloud-based web system, purembc.net. You saw in the Visual Studio solution how easy it is for a developer to create new modules and content items. The front end is totally responsive, very slick for a UI, and that's about it. So thank you everybody for joining. And if you have any questions, feel free to email us at Point Alliance, and thank you.
Well, thank you again for attending this month's Solution for Success education series. We look forward to see you next month. Have a great day. Thank you.